When something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor. When Henry Ford made cheap reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. There are way easier places to work, but nobody ever changed the world on 40 hours a week. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. Great companies are built on great products. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. I'm anti-tax, but I'm pro-carbon tax. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. There's a silly notion that failure's not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. The company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is, have a high pain threshold. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable. The problem is that at a lot of big companies, process becomes a substitute for thinking. You're encouraged to behave like a little gear in a complex machine. Frankly, it allows you to keep people who aren't that smart, who aren't that creative. If you're entering anything where there's an existing marketplace against large, entrenched competitors, then your product or service needs to be much better than theirs. It can't be a little bit better, because then you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. You're always going to buy the trusted brand, unless there's a big difference. I do think there is a lot of potential if you have a compelling product and people are willing to pay a premium for that. I think that is what Apple has shown. You can buy a much cheaper cell phone or laptop, but Apple's product is so much better than the alternative and people are willing to pay that premium. I tend to approach things from a physics framework, and physics teaches you to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. The key to making things affordable is design and technology improvements, as well as scale.